Well, John, it's very nice to see you again, albeit virtually. I trust you're keeping well.
Yeah, thanks, Rodney. Good to see you again. Staying safe and well here in Hong Kong.
Good. Well, now you're the head of tax for KPMG in Hong Kong. Tell me, how are things going given the current health pandemic globally? What's been Hong Kong's response and how are things going?
Yeah, thanks, Rodney. So, Hong Kong was hit very early by COVID-19, and we've actually seemingly come through the worst of it now, and businesses are reopening. In terms of what the government's done, there's been a sort of two fronts. There's been quite a large fiscal stimulus and also a series of targeted tax measures that have been done. On the fiscal side, there's been some tax rebates, there's been some cash grants to hard-hit businesses, and more recently there's been quite a generous employment support scheme implemented, which provides up to $1,200 US per employee per month, and very little restrictions on which businesses qualify for that support.
Okay, and but it sounds as though Hong Kong is largely coming through things on a very good basis. Looks as though you're back in the office.
Yes. And so we've been sort of back now for nearly a month. The shops and restaurants have reopened or remained open in many cases. So hopefully things are looking up on that front, and we can get back to business. Certainly, most of our clients are now back in the office. Although often doing an A and a B team approach to just be safe over the next few months.
Sure. And as you talk to clients that are back at work, what are some of the things that they're looking at now in terms of future issues?
Sure. Yeah, and I think, Rodney, what Hong Kong, has always had this territorial tax system, and we've been very conscious of maintaining that system, but make sure we comply with all the international norms. So as BEPS 1.0 was rolled out, Hong Kong did a whole series of measures, the most significant of which was transfer pricing. And what we're starting to see now is people look at their FY19 returns, which is really the first year of that the full impact of transfer pricing is being felt. We're starting to see, a lot of issues come out of that. One of the ones that's most impactful for many of our multinational clients is the fact that Hong Kong as a headquarter location has often absorbed a lot of group costs. And traditionally in Asia, it's often been very hard to recharge those costs to many of the jurisdictions here with exchange controls and other restrictions. And with transfer pricing, the amount of these costs and their treatment, certainly here in Hong Kong, is coming to light. So it has shifted the dynamic from Hong Kong being relatively low risk to people starting to say, hang on, there's a bit more tax risk here, particularly around the transfer pricing.
So that's an interesting point, and I guess it just reflects the fact that yes, we've had a difficult year this year because of the health issues, but life goes on in the tax world. And this point about the starting to get experience with what's going on in the field of transfer pricing in Hong Kong and starting to see those future issues tells us what people should be thinking about as they come to complete their documentation this year in terms of risk assessment. Right?
Yes, particularly, yeah. And I think as I talk to many of my clients, those particularly with a regional role, everybody is very concerned as we come out of COVID-19. And all the measures that have been taken by governments to support business over this difficult period, that they will be asked to make contributions, so are likely to come under significant scrutiny from all of the tax regulators across the region.
Well, so that's a good point to end on. I can imagine that's going to keep you quite busy as clients wrestle with what is the appropriate way to classify expenditures under Hong Kong transfer pricing principles, and then how to deal with the question of charge or not, and then currency controls. That's going to be a big exercise for folk that haven't gone through this in the past.
Yes, certainly.
Well, John, thank you for your time, and it's good to see you, and I look forward to seeing you in person again.
Yeah, good to see you again, Rodney.